90% of people spend their entire time working for money, but the wealthy spend their life learning how to make money work hard for them. So today I'm going to show you why 90% of wealth are controlled by people that behave differently, and why shifting your mindset and position in the cash flow quadrant can position you to unlock your financial freedom. Whether you're an employee or self-employed, or you're a business owner, or even an investor, your quadrant determines your wealth ceiling, tax exposure, time freedom, and legacy building potential. Once again, my name is Bibi Ofiri, and I am a multifamily investor, and I teach people how to become financially free with multifamily. And if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, now is the time for you to. Please subscribe and like. So let's dive right into it. The cash flow quadrant was developed by Robert Kiyosaki in the Rich Dad Poor Dad. The quadrant shows us how income is earned and why some people stay stuck while others break free. Here are the four quadrants. We have the employee quadrant, we have the self-employed quadrant, we have the business quadrant, and finally the investors quadrant. So in terms of tax bracket, the employee quadrant pays about 27% to 34% of their income as taxes. And in terms of time freedom, is limited. No time freedom. Is there any wealth potential? It's very low or non-existent. Now let's move to the next. The next is self-employed or specialist. We have some doctors in this category, some lawyers in this category. 24 to 37% of their income is taxed. Time freedom, it's limited. The wealth potential, they're in the medium category. Now let's move towards the other part of the quadrant, which is the business quadrant. In terms of tax bracket, business owners fall between 10 to 25% tax bracket. And in terms of their time freedom is high because they're business owner. They have structure and people and processes in place for that to happen. Do they really have wealth potential? Yes, their wealth potential is very high. Now to the final one in the four quadrants that I previously mentioned, which is the investor. In terms of tax bracket, they fall between 0 to 20%. So when you hear people saying that they never pay taxes because they invest in multifamily, or they pay almost nothing or zero in their taxes because they are investors and they've been able to unlock what that looks like. So if you are in the investors quadrant, your tax bracket is going to be between 0 to 20%. In terms of time freedom, you can see that as complete. That is, you have that time freedom. Then the last one is there any wealth potential? In short, that is where the wealth is built. That is the quadrant where the wealth is built. So yes, it's unlimited at that point. Now let's break this down into easy and simpler terms. The idea is for you to identify where you are and know how fast and how soon. And in some cases, it's a time of urgency for you to quickly move. Before now, we used to know that if you're working with the federal government, it was a sign of guaranteed job. But in the last few months, that is not the case. In short, it's the most unstable job right now if you're working with the federal government. So if you are in that category, this might be a case of urgency for you to start considering moving to the other quadrant where you have this unlimited freedom and wealth potential. So now let's break it down. The first one is the employee. It means that you have a job. It means you're working for someone. According to study, 59% of US adults rely on a W-2 income, if no more. Kind of assume that it is more than 59%, but with recent statistics, 59% live on W-2 income. Why 62% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, including business owners. Even those earning 100K and above as annual income fall into this category. Some of them live on paycheck to paycheck, or some even do multiple jobs and still live on paycheck to paycheck. Considering job security, just like I just earlier mentioned about the Fed, or if you're working for the federal government, 530,000 layoffs in the tech industry happened between 2023 to 2024. So that happened 2 years back through last year. Considering what happened since February to maybe even this month, which is August, I'm sure it has exceeded the 530 that happened between 2023 and 2024. So if you are in this category, it means that you are paying the highest taxes. How funny is it that people in this category earn the lowest, as in they're in the lowest part or bottom of the spectrum, but they pay the highest taxes? How is that possible? But truth be told, that is what it is. They pay up to 37% in federal taxes, plus Social Security and Medicare. They have limited deductions and limited leverage. It's likely that some of them were able to become millionaires with a W-2 job. But here's the fact. Only 10% of millionaires get there from a job, according according to CNBC. Then 5% of Fortune 500 CEOs stay in one company for a very long time for that to be achieved. Bottom line, if you're an employee, that is, you have a W-2, you're working, you have high taxes, no control of your time, you have limited wealth, and you're building someone else's dream. Self-employed. There's a slight difference between employee and self-employed. Let's do the reality check on this. About 44 million Americans are self-employed. You control your time just a little more, but your income is still tied to your effort. That is, they are the vehicle by which they make wealth, or they are the vehicle by which they make income. That is, if they do not show up, no income, as well as the employee level as well. If they do not show up, no income. So in terms of taxes, it's slightly better, but not good as well. On the average, about 15.3%. No benefits except you structure things differently in terms of taxes. They do not get the leverage that people in the investors quadrant will get, except they structure their business differently. Oh my God, there's a lot of burnout and bottlenecks in this category. About 77% of professionals report burnout. This is according to Deloitte. Most solopreneurs, I call them solopreneurs because they are solo or they are just one person, work between 60 to 80 hours a week. If they stop, the income stops. So are you in that category? Here are the simple facts. You're hustling, but you're still on the time for money treadmill. There is no exit except you transition to B, and that is the business owner. That is the only exit that you have. But if you don't do that, you'll be stuck in this roller coaster. So now this is a very interesting part. The right side of the quadrant is the side where you want to be, either the business owner or the investor. At least the long-term goal should be that you be in the investor's quadrant. So let's dive into what are the benefits of being a business owner. For the business owner, you own a system. That is, you necessarily don't have to be there for things to work. You have process, structure, and a system in place that outlives you. So you don't have to be there and things will work. Just like Apple, when the CEO died, Apple has even grown massively even after his death. So that is what we call owning a business, like a business owner in this category. So let's do some reality check on this. About 75% of self-made millionaires own a business. In terms of IRA, business owners will hit about 1 million plus in revenue, build wealth 5 times faster. Let me tell you how that works. So in terms of taxes, business owners can deduct about 200 plus expenses. So there are some provisions in the tax filings. They have about 200 plus ways to structure their tax filings that will give them that kind of benefit. So they have about 200 plus deductions that they can take advantage of. Smart planning can effectively bring tax rates below 15%. So because they have a structure and they have a process and system, with good smart planning, they can significantly bring down their tax liability below 15%. Things like employing family members, write-off on vehicles, travel meals, and marketing. These are some of the ways that they can use to write off their expenses. So in terms of wealth potential, the system that they've built replaces them, just like what I said about the Apple business. So the co-owner died and the business is currently outliving him. They're doing very well. In short, they've grown and they've expanded. The business can be scaled, can be sold, and can be systemized. At that point, it becomes an asset. Let's summarize what are the benefits of becoming a business owner. I'm not saying a self-employed. They're two different things. Business owner is different. There's a structure, process, and system in place that outlives you. So in summary, you can control your income. You can structure your business properly to take the best benefits in taxes because you have a lot of ways you can plan it and take advantage of the 200 plus deductions that you have available to you. And they say time is money. You have significant time at your beck and call. Now you pair that with investing, then you become unstoppable. So now let's go into that place that makes you unstoppable. The entire thing that is making me do this video, becoming an investor. In this category, money works for you. That is, about top 1% controls about 50% of the stock market. This is according to the Federal Reserve. 80% of the ultra wealthy make most of their income through investment. This is according to UBS. So let's dive into the taxes. In this category, the capital gain tax is between 0 to 20%. So when you hear people saying, I do not pay tax, don't be surprised. It's true. There are different benefits or different ways that as an investor, you can write off your tax liabilities and pay 0. And I can tell you for a fact, I'm a beneficiary of that. So what are those things that as an investor you can do to put you in that category in terms of your taxes from 0 to 20%? It's one, we take advantage advantage of bonus depreciation. This is something we use a cost segregation specialist to go do a study, and we write off anything that the span of life is below 20 years. We write them off in one single year, and in exchange we get a bonus depreciation for that. So we have the opportunity to take advantage of the bonus depreciation, the cost segregation, and 1031 exchange. That is, we defer taxes. Rather than having capital gains slammed on us, we can defer our taxes. I'm going to use a multifamily as an example. For a multifamily, you can get between 6 to 8% average cash on cash on an investment, and between 15 to 20% return on your IRR over 5 years, and stability over economy downtime. So multifamily is one stable type of investment that you can literally do, and you can do it in inflation period, in recession period, in very expansion period, whatever period that is. It has the ability to wither downtime. So let's summarize this in one sentence. Money works for you even when you're asleep. That's why we call it passive income. It builds generational wealth, not just income. So if you invest in, I'm sure you should have been seeing this benefit. When I mean generational wealth, because you are investing into hard assets, into things like this. On their own, they grow, especially if you're a good operator. You increase the value of those things. So let's say something that you bought 1 million. In 5 years, that thing now becomes 8 million. You can see how you were able to grow the wealth. You're able to grow a $1 million asset by an additional 7 million over time. These things are facts. This is how people build generational wealth. So you want to be in this quadrant in your life. And wrapping up with this is the reason why I think you need to move to the category where we have the business owner and the investor quadrant. In summary, if you're stuck in employee / self-employed quadrant, you are trading time and paying the highest taxes and limiting your wealth or the ability for you to become financially free. If you want freedom, leverage, legacy, you must operate in the B and I quadrant, which is the business owner quadrant and the investors quadrant. That is if you want. And the best part is you don't have to do it alone. So for me, many years ago, I moved from active income to ownership and investment. I now own over 1,000 units in different parts of the US. I'm a lead syndicator, and I help investors like you move from the employee and self-employed quadrant to being an investor. I do that with multifamily. In this way, you can access passive income through strategic real estate investment. We always say multifamily is a business. Yes, true. So if you're investing in multifamily or you want to invest in multifamily, you have the benefit of both being a business owner and as well as an investor, because multifamily is a business, not just an investment. In other words, you benefit from ownership, leverage, tax savings, cash flow, long-term appreciation. Let me repeat it again so that you don't forget. You benefit from ownership, leverage, tax savings, cash flow, and long-term appreciation. You can beat that. You know that, right? This is a life example. I have a deal. It's a 114 unit. It's called the Tom Manor apartment. If you're looking for how you can easily transition from being a self-employed or an employee and you're looking to invest, we have a deal currently which is open to 506C accredited investors. That means if you're an accredited investor, that is, you earn about $200,000 annually in the last 2 years, and currently you think you will be earning that, or as a spouse, you and your husband and wife, the both of you, you've earned $300,000 in the last 2 years and you think you also earn that this year, then this is open to you. And if your net worth is above $1 million excluding your primary home, then you also qualify to take advantage of this opportunity. It's open to you. We've closed on this deal, but the opportunity is very limited and it will be shutting down soon. This is one of the ways you can easily transition from being an employer to becoming an investor, and as well as a business owner. This is not just an investment, it's a shift in identity. I'm not saying this because I want you to just be part of this. For crying out loud, we've closed and what we have to raise is very minimal. So that is not the case. So this is not just an investment, it's a shift of identity and a journey for you to start building wealth. From being taxed to no time at all and trapped, to being positioned, protected, and profitable, as well as having unlimited time. fine. You need to invest in this deal. If you're looking for ways that you can invest in it, the link will be in our description, or you can book a call with us and we'll be able to walk you through the deal. Final words: the quadrant you choose, or where you're positioned in the quadrant I just listed, defines the life you build. Watching will not change your life, but taking action will sure will. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you on my next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this content meant anything to you, and don't forget to share as well. I look forward to seeing you in my next episode.